just jump. Thank you, Harold. I appreciate the nod. We'll jump straight into it. So we're going to start just with a very, very, very quick round of introductions. So in a minute, who are you? What is it that you do? And what can standards do in the energy transition, especially when it comes to mining? Harsh, ladies first.
Thanks, John. So great to be here. My name is Haj Ahmed. I'm a senior manager with ICMM, and I work in our social performance team, and I lead our work around human rights and indigenous peoples. So from my perspective, I think it's really important for standards like the CMSI to be here to ensure that mining can be done in a very responsible, rights-respecting manner, and ensure that we are keeping the planet and nature and people at the forefront. Especially nowadays where we're seeing a sort of pullback in the current environment around ESG standards, it's really important to have voluntary standards like such.
minerals to deploy the wind, solar, and energy storage that to meet the Paris Agreement. So, and the way we are doing it matters a lot. So, for instance, we expect a six-fold increase in lithium, cobalt, and nickel by 2050. And we already see how this impact can increase. We increase this impact. We need to decouple the impact from the mineral, the mining production. So the standards and regulations will help make sure that the more we do this, the more we go into the direction of reducing these impacts. And the multilateral system, it's quite important because we need to align how this is happening. This moment here is a moment where we gather, so we discuss how to move forward. So in this sense, having the possibility of discussing such an important activity for a future, so we don't need to keep, so we limit the heat that we're seeing. I mean, we are all here the last few days feeling the heat, and that is very real. And I think it's actually important that we are feeling this because that's what's coming. And there are a lot of people that are in vulnerable positions that need this so we can limit the capacity, the climate change. So in this sense, having the discussion so attached, the climate change discussion on how are we going to tackle the issue, it's key. So because otherwise we're going to have two completely different discussions. They are not connected, and we will not be able to make sure that what we're doing in the mining, with mining, will increase the pressure over ecosystems and deforestation and this kind of things. So that's my take on this.
What I'm hearing is that we are sweating for a better future in many ways. And absolutely agree with you, because I think, these challenges are so big that, not one stakeholder will be able to solve it on their own. And talking about big, Kirsten, I'm coming next to you. Vale and Vale Base Metals, you have operations across many jurisdictions and commodities. For a company like yourselves, why do standards matter? And what is the value proposition of initiatives like the Consolidated Mining Standards Initiative?
I think standards for a company like ours are really important because they set a baseline and they give guidance. One example, we are at the moment really busy implementing copper mark at our Brazil sites. And that, because that exists and that is like something to achieve, it was really, if we just said, okay, we like you to do all these useful things, they might not, the mine managers would probably not have been as enthusiastic for it, right? But this is like, it's a certification, it's a check mark. It's like others do it, we need our clients, our customers demand it. If we live up to this, we've checked a box, basically, right? It helps in many ways, it gives guidance, it helps you check a box. And it really responds, as I said, to customer needs. It is something that allows you to prove to your different stakeholders, especially your customers, but also other interested parties, that somebody else has approved what you're doing, right? It gives a third-party approval system. And I think, so it's not just us saying, hey, we think we're doing a decent job, which we think we do. But so it's that validation and it's the guidance that comes with it, right? Did we think of everything? Is this a complete overview of everything we should be doing? And yes, consolidated standards, because there's so, as we all know, so many standards out there. So to combine, I mean, for us, gold is not as relevant, but we do TSM, we do copper mark, we do ICMM, obviously. So to combine that, I mean, there's still, I don't know, GRI and CSRD and ISO and ISSB and everything else. So we're not at full consolidation yet, but I think it's a really useful start, although we still need to finalize them.
And on that, we are, just to note to the audience, we are actually out for public consultation on the standard. We are running the consultation until Sunday, so if you haven't already looked at it, there's no time like the present, and tomorrow's a rest day, and what better way to spend a rest day than to interrogate the consolidated standard. But moving on, Harsh, something that we have seen increasing in the multilateral space, but also, I'd say at this COP, is really the linkage between the extractive sectors generally, but mining in particular, and indigenous peoples and their rights. You lead ICMM's work on these issues. You've also been very deeply involved in the